distance around is S equals radius times the angle. And yeah, well, no, I said, well, turn this physics problem, and that's all that physics problem used. S equals R theta, R times theta. And I said, try and get the answer in the book. Maybe give it 15 minutes to get the brightness. I said, I wonder why that formula won't work there. It's the right formula. Well, the whole thing was, see, the whole situation started when something's in motion, and you catch it at a certain time in motion. And now your angles are all messed up. You don't know where to start the angle. Well, all you have to do is take the angle that was in there and the angle that's in there and divide it by, add them together, divide it by 2 and get the average angle that's turned through and wham, out it'll fall. So, and I said, the reason I had to do it that way is I had so much trouble in college because nobody would tell me, you gotta have the average angle that turns through. And I'd show them how to work the problem wrong. The way I used to work them wrong and say, doesn't this look right?
Yeah, Bob does that. I mean, you know, he's worked out systems where, he, you know, and he just worked it out himself.
Yeah, how not to work the problem, and when it looks just as rational and right as can be.
Yeah,
but the book hasn't told you quite enough, see?
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing wrong with the book. They just didn't tell you how to get the right angle to start with. And, but I enjoyed teaching.
I know you did.
You could turn on. But then you have those, I don't know how you would turn them on. I tried every approach.
Some you just never will.
And they just want to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
No matter what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them about your black boy that was flunking out. He was passing in your class.
I had a black boy, beautiful black. He's white chocolate, one of those wedge-shaped guys, you know. Beautiful portion and all that. Bright kid. He liked me. But I'd hardly got to start teaching him till one day a female, after my class took up, she come in there and she's got her finger in his face and just reading him right. I said, wait a minute, Miss Bean, let's go out in the hall over here. And I got her out in the hall and she just fuming. What in the world happened here? Well, he challenged me right out in front of all those students there in the hall. And I said, why didn't you take care of it then instead of waiting class takes up and come down here and jumping on him in my class? But I said, I'll call him out here and we'll get this straightened out right quick. So I called him out. And I asked him, I said, Billy Joe, did you do what this teacher said? He said, yes, sir, I sure did. Well, I said, come on. Then I was going to the office. I'm going to lay that paddle on your tail. I do it to a white boy, and I don't discriminate, and I'm going to do it to a black boy. So he starts on the I said, wait a minute, Billy Joe. I went in there and had some kid take charge of the class, and I said, I'm not mad at you at all. I'm a little perturbed that you had challenged the teacher and say to her what you did right out in front of everybody with 10,000 witnesses looking at you. If you ever want to challenge the teacher,
don't do it.
Get them all out by yourself where it's only you and only she, see? And then you're all right because you can just lie then and get away with it, you know, but you can't lie when you got all these witnesses. And I was scared to death. He's gonna I make him lean on the desk and I wiped him with that paddle. And I said, you gotta take 5 licks. And I said, don't turn loose at the desk. I'll break a finger or a hand and I'll get sued by daddy and all that. And so after I paddled him, it's a big deal to start with, you know. About the 3rd lick, things get serious. And he hung on. And so he's going right back up class. I said, wait a minute, Billy Joe. You and I are going to walk together up there. I'm not mad at you, Paul. Little disappointed, like I told you, but not mad. And we walked together on up, and we talked on the way back to class. Then a little later, I heard one of the civics teacher saying, believe that's the dumbest nigger that I ever saw in my life. And I'm listening. He went with two names, Billy Joe Wade and Billy Joe Norton. You know, who was your daddy, really? But I said, you talking about Billy Joe Norton? Yeah, dumbest nigger I ever saw. I said, well, I don't see how to be dumb. He's making an end in algebra. I said, he's bright. Boy, they sure do con you. And I said, nah, he's not conning me. So final examiner, I said, what grade is he making? Well, he's making an F. And I don't say anything, but a little bit later, well, I said, 2 weeks before school's out, you've got your A paper here. You just forget about algebra. I'm going to give you a name on the report card. And I want to see you bring a civics book in here and you memorize that between now and when you take that test. And now, the least grade I want you to bring back is setting the curve for the whole school in civics. You're capable of that. Okay, he said, I'll do that. So that's all he did. I told him, you didn't just let me know you're around. If you'll go to the library anywhere, study civics. You can't. No, I said, I'll study civics in your mathematics class. Well, I said, take your book home and study. Yes, sir. And I forgot about it. And a couple little girls come in, and our one said, do you know who set the curve in this whole school in the civics? And the other said, no, I don't. He said, Billy Joe Norton? He said, made the highest grade. So next time I saw this fellow, I said, how'd Billy Joe come out on his final examination? And he said, well, Mr. Booher, I don't know what happened. He couldn't have cheated. And I said, he couldn't have cheated, no. Well, I said, what happened? He said, you know, he made the highest grade of anybody in this high school. And I didn't say anything. I said, well, what I said was, I told you to brighten this morning. So I asked him, when I turned my report card over to him, I said, what kind of grade Miss Sampson gave you in civics? And he said, D. I said, well, that beat an F, did it? He said, yes, sir. Oh, I asked him too. I said, did anybody ever lay a plank on your tail in this school except Mr. Booher? He said, no, sir. Well, I said, how come you work for me, sir? He said, you're real. I said, I'm real. Yeah. He said, you care for me, Mr. Booher. And people that care for me, I can work for them. Miss Sampson didn't care for me. Later on, he went down there, and I'd go by and pick his name up. She worked right across the hall from the recruiter's office. And I went in there one day, and he called me in, and he picked me a picture out, and he said, you know that boy? And I looked at it, Billy Joe Norton. And I said, yeah. I taught him math. He said, I found out who turned him on. He said, but I want to tell you what he did. He took the Navy entrance examination, and he's been the sixth highest that's ever been passed in the state of Arkansas.
Is that right?
He made the sixth highest grade on that Navy.
Can you imagine how that made him feel?
And he's supposed to be dumb. Dumbest nigger I ever saw. That was that guy's words.
Oh.
But I had one Negro boy that, boy, you couldn't, he's going to take over.
Well.
He's going to just take the class over.
Yeah.
And he infuriated me, so I went down there and I slapped that guy. And them kids swore I slapped him. He's going out of the seat. It's my hand. He slapped him right there on the cheek. And he turned and flipped. And man, oh man, everybody's on needles and pins, and I'm down there explaining and explaining and explaining. I said, well, he just infuriated me. He challenged me 3 times in a row. And the second time I said, now, if you open your mouth one more time, you're in deep trouble, boy, with old man Booher, and he opened it.
Mhm.
And his mother called me up. She
Mm.
put cuss words together like I never have heard them.
Really eloquent, huh?
Oh, man. And I said, well, I want to tell you this. Let's reverse these situations. If you had been the teacher and my son had been your student and you had done exactly the same thing I did, I would compliment you, and when he got home, I would blister him with a hickory stick.
Mhm.
And oh boy, you white SOB,
Well, yeah.
and you dirty BASDARD, and you Negro hater, and all
Yeah.
that stuff, you know.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what the rest of those kids come
Oh,
to me?
yeah.
8 of those blacks come to me and say, so-and-so giving you trouble, Mr. Booher.
Oh, they were
Well,
going
I
to take him
said,
out,
well,
huh?
They said, all you have to do is just say, straighten out that boy and we'll straighten him out for you.
That's great.
I said, no, not gonna have any of that. All you guys get expelled and get still
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah, you'd
That's
still
what I
have,
told them.
you'd still
We're not
have,
gonna have any of that.
right.
Well, like you. I'd have really leaned on you. see?
Yeah.
And you'd say, Ray, I don't have the time. That's the first thing to say.
Yeah.
Honey, tell them about those
But you
girls.
get somebody that's in the business, knows all about light, lenses, and everything else.
Yeah.
And get them down there, they can teach, where I would just get up there and teach out of a book. They could teach that subject. And they call them cooperating teachers. You go out in the
Oh, yeah.
business community and get them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a great pleasure to have.
And but you know, a
See,
lot
they
of,
teach me something too while they're there.
but a lot of teachers wouldn't think to really draw on resources like that. See, they just.
Well, that's the greatest way in the world. You get kids
Yeah,
that
it is.
I knew the head honcho, the head engineer out there at the Mammoth Air Force Base. It gets Tulsa, Dallas. They know every plane in the sky for 500 miles around them, see?
Which one's that?
And you can't hardly get in there, but you know what I did? I got him down there twice in 1 year to lecture to those physics students, and then we loaded up the buses, see? And he got every one of them in there. And watched the actual operation, watched those planes flying, and they said they'd send a pulse and get all the information they want from that plane, just boom. And there it is, tightening it out, see? And
Tell them about the time Bob Eisenstein came to visit us.
when I was young, there was a young Jew. I worked for a Jew on the side, and I was his favorite. He'd take me out for a $3.50 steak every afternoon. And I was just filling in because he couldn't get any help. But he thought I was the greatest guy for fixing TV, radios that ever walked. And offered me to take me in as a partner. Biggest mistake, that was another big mistake I made.
Oh, I don't think that was such a mistake.
But anyhow, well, you know, it's worth $250,000 then, and that's when a dollar's worth a dollar.
Yeah.
But this boy come in, I guess he's 17 years old, and just swamped under. And I couldn't work myself to death. I was working on a police job and going out here and working for him 8 hours. Making about as much working for him, you know, as I was on the police force. And he said, what experience? I heard the kid asking for a job. And he said, what experience you had? Well, I went to Phoenix Tech. Boy, that is enough said. He just blew through. I told that who taught you? So I told that guy never to send another man from that outfit out here to see me, and it jumping all over. He was just a Jewish guy, you know. He could really get mad. And he looked back at me, and I pointed down to that pile of radios that had to be fixed. And finally calmed down. He said, go back there and talk to Ray. If he'll hire you, I'll take you. And I just talked calm to him, and I said, you know how to fix radios? Yeah. I looked down there at a little old AC/DC set, and I said, pick that one up. And, just take it out of the case and think out loud to me. He plugs it in, turns it on, now the tube's alight, see? That was the old tube days. I said, tell me what could be the matter with that set. Start the socket and run down one line, go through the set and go back up there to the socket. He had it all figured out. Everything could be wrong. I said, well, go ahead and fix it. So he checks the line and it's good and the switch is good and still won't line up. I said, wonder why it won't light up? Not a tube in there will light up. He said, well, they're like those little streetcars. They're a series, and if one of them's out, they're all out. And I said, that's absolutely right. I said, go ahead and find out which one's out, fix it. And I'm watching him, you know, and he takes them out and puts them in a tube tester, and every one of them's good. I said, that's odd, isn't it? Every one of them's lighting up in that tube tester. I said, wonder what could be wrong with it now. Took a bottle I'm at the end of my rope. He said, maybe one of the tube sockets defected. And I said, look at your rectifier and see how the film is made. He looked at it. He said, it's tapped, isn't it? I said, I bet that little old pilot light socket section's open. Why don't you check the voltmeter and see? And he did. He said, you're right about it. So he went and got a new tube plugged in there. Off and went playing. He started to put it back up. I said, no, you don't do that. I said, get the vacuum cleaner over and blow all that dust out of it, blow the cobwebs out of it, and then clean the dial and make it shine just like new. So he did. And then he's going to line it up. And I said, now, there's a real fast way to line it up. You got two oscillators already. You got one on 620 and you got one on 1490, so that's all you need. And I showed him how to do it just off the top of your head. And he just turned out to be an outstanding young technician. Every time we get in trouble, he's over there asking me, and I tell him once, he never had to tell him again.
He owned his own business.
So
Tell him about bringing him to school.
Saw. Then it turned out they're both Jews. I didn't know he was a Jew, but he was a Jew. And so he married the guy's,
Niece.
married this Jew's wife's sister. And they just getting along fine, and then his daddy just took and blew his mother's head off.
Oh my
This kid's daddy.
goodness.
Well to do, my goodness. And just crushed the whole lot for that sake. And he'd married Gentiles, so they'd buried him and all that. They've actually held a funeral, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, he's an outcast, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh,
They
yes.
both married Gentiles.
They have a ceremony and the child is dead, declared dead.
Mhm.
They are
Both
no
of them
longer
got
part of
into
the
that
family.
mess, and they're both Orthodox, you know.
Honey, he's been out there playing.
Well, later
No,
on,
no, it's okay. I just
the
want
kid
to-
went in business for himself, and now he's retired. And I know he has $600,000, and everything he touched just turned to gold. But I nursed him all through that period when his dad and mother went, and when he came back here, they were going to Europe as champion salesman or something, all the expenses paid and all that.
It's Nathan. He took me home.
Okay, dear honey, we're gonna go to dinner, so run quick and change, and we're waiting for you.
I don't know what to wear.
It's on your bed, honey. You just needed all that on there, didn't you?
all right.
And anyhow, while they're there, he's just laughing and bubbly like he was when he was a kid. You know, he's getting up close to his 40s then. And his wife looks at him and said, Ray, do you notice anything different in Bob? I said, no. No, just same old Bob. He hadn't bubbled and laughed like that in 10 years.
Since you left Phoenix.
Since
that's
you
what
left
said.
Phoenix, that's what she said. I'll give you guys $5,400 a year just to come and live with us. I'll give you $100 a week. And you're found just to come and live with us. And I told him, well, later on I said to Bob, I said, if I get in a jam back here, I'm liable to need $10,000 in a hurry, boy. I said, could you get it to me in 3 days? I'll get it to you in 3 hours. You know. But I never intended that.
Well, tell them about when you took him to your class and what the
Oh,
principal said.
you got one of them mammoth, one of them big motor homes, what do you call it, run around in.
Watabega.
Watabega, is that one? No.
Winnebago. Yeah.
Or Dodge chassis.
Uh-huh.
Go in there, it's just like being at home, you know.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I drove that out and had Electronics Distributors Incorporated, Phoenix, Arizona. That's on the truck. And I'd invited him to come in and talk about electric fields for me. I said, you know all about that. So I built him up before he came with a class. And I said, this young man's really an expert. And he knows more about fields than I do. And when I got him in there, well, they cut him off. This principal and assistant principal. I said, wait a minute, he's my cooperating teacher today. Well, he runs electronics distributors in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's not coming in here and brainwash those kids and try to sell them a bunch of stuff.
Oh.
And my mouth dropped open, and I said, what in the name of God are you talking about? I said, he's going in there and instruct on electric fields. And I said, he's an expert on electric fields. And that's what he's going to instruct on. And I said, I'm just about to become unwell, and I'm going to get right over there on that telephone and call the superintendent of this school and get him over here right now. And well, okay, we'll let you go in there. Just don't have him trying to sell a bunch of goods to those students. You know, crazy.
Oh, really?
But he took my classes for 2 days, and they really enjoyed it.
I'm sure.
What I said, go ahead and talk to him 30 minutes and let him ask. Give him the theory and how it works and what all it works in, and let him ask you questions.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what they ask you, go ahead and do your best to answer. Just throw it open.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me any question you want to
That's
ask.
good.
And they really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did too, because I was putting out the effort.
I got that.
Putting back anybody for keys. So
Oh.
everybody else, you know, the keys are there, but mine weren't there, and I wouldn't go and say, I'd go to Deb Martin and say, Deb, give me a key, I gotta go to the bathroom. And we got along great, you know. And Deb, he had a high respect for me. I don't know why, but he did. He said, Mr. Ledbetter, don't anything off. He's a great big ex-football player, coach, and all that. He likes to wear a cowboy hat, and he wore it in there. Mr. Ledbetter said, Mr. Martin, take that hat off. And he said, you know what I've done? Instead of telling him off like you do, Mr. Ledbetter, he said, I just reached up and took my hat off. And I should have said, Mr. Ledbetter, let's see you make me take that hat off. Great big 220-pound coach, you know. He said, that's what I should have told him. Let's see if you're big enough to make me take this hat off. He knew I'd been around with him.
Honestly, it sounds like a TV show, you know, one of those things with the school classrooms.
Yeah, well,
and
you wouldn't believe,
and the
you would not believe some of the things that they do.
I'll tell you, now I want to tell you what happened. We had a counselor there with the name of Bonner. She had her master's. And she was good looking when when she first came there, she was trim, and make you take a second glance, you know. I said, that woman's keeping her shape. She looks just like when she was 18 years old. And I taught her boy, and he was nuts about me, you know. And first thing you know, she's dumping all that. She'd come to me and make a deal with me about, did I think I could get this one through and that one through? And I said, yeah. If they can keep the roll or something like that, I'll get them through. Well, their parents thought she's a genius all these years, and she's at the moron level. And they've had 2 psychiatrists look her over, you know. And I said, well, she'll make a good wife for somebody, you know. And she went to our church. I didn't know it, that she was a moron. But, you know, she was sort of a high moron.
Teacher, what
Make somebody a wonderful little wife, you know.
Teachable or?
Pretty.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I can get her through. But later on, her boy started courting a girl in our church, see. And I went in teacher's lounge one day, and oh, she's just taking off about those Assembly of God people, those thou shalt not people, and my kids getting over there. And she just laid them out, you know, and I looked at her and I said, well, Mr. Bonner, I wouldn't get excited about that. So the most devout people I've known in my life are Assembly of God people. Fact of the matter is, my wife's a member of the Assembly of God Church, and I attend, but I smoke, and I would insult them to ask them to join our church, so I don't join, but I go over there. You do, you know. And from there on out, my star with her was at the bottom.
Was descending, right?
And I
Falling star.
I knew it.
Well, we heard through a board member that she went to the superintendent shortly after this, when Ray went to her and told her that he'd had it up to here with her VOTEC class. He said, now Monday morning, he said, I'm going to start sending them to the office, because I got 3 of them who won't study, they won't learn, and they won't let anybody else learn. And she went to the superintendent and told him that Ray was having a nervous breakdown.
And then here's what's odd. They went to a 1-day session on mental breakdowns somewhere down there in the middle of the
Oh,
and that made them experts.
honestly, those seminars,
Learn it all in an hour and a half.
make people
And,
into lethal weapons. Honestly, they just learn enough to sling
so
it around.
that's another story you got out of it. Mentally
Incompetent to teach high school kids.
But anyhow, a cousin of mine, she's well respected there in town and runs a little kindergarten class. You know, private. And she had friends in the high school system, also friends in college.
Your cousin's wife was who it was.
And her husband, my first cousin, was removed. And of course, my dad, his dad were first cousins, see. No, we were second cousins, that's what it was. And her uncle was really the guy on the board that really counted. He's the guy that run that school for me. But anyhow, she had a woman friend that taught over there, and she said, I don't know what happened to Mr. Booher. Oh boy, that's sad. Well, what about him? Oh, he's the most brilliant teacher to ever get to school. He's so brilliant, he's eccentric. You know, and then do that, you know. And so we had dinner with him. I didn't know she was looking me over, you know. She thought maybe I'd gone nutty. Well, what'd she say? She said, well, I'm going to see my uncle about that.